So that was put into place. Salute to Clive Davis. And by the late 80s, by the late 70s into the early 80s, all of the black owned record labels at Curtis Mayfield, King Records with James Brown, all that stuff was dried up. They either they either slashed them, or in the case of Stax Records, I was white owned Black Control by Al Bell. They totally handcuffed them and cut their distribution deals, and they wrestled control back. Then you get to the early 80s, you got black owned records like Sugar Hill Records, and hip hop is starting to come out. So um, hip hop is now starting to lend voice to black America. But as we saw on that interview, if you go back to that interview with Goo on Real Life Street Stars, you'll see you'll see that yeah, although Sugar Hill Records, they were stealing from everybody. But at the same time, according to Goo in that interview, the Mafia was stealing from them. The Mafia was taking so much money off top, everyone down line got affected. And America has always allowed the Mafia and these entities to steal and turn a blind eye to it. Till now, when you get to the Mafia's effect on record labels started dwindling in the 80s and into the 90s. Now the corporations come. And the corporations are far worse than the Mafia. The corporate mergers of the 90s, taking away all those smaller black labels and consolidating them into one, under Def Jam. If you look at Universal, most of hip hop is owned by Universal. Def Jam, Cash Money, Death Row, Aftermath, all that shit's under Universal. Island Def Jam, go down the list. All that shit's under Universal Records. So it goes to show you that even, and this is why I'm making this talk. Because I get tired of people always coming with the solutions. Y'all, look, anybody coming, y'all don't know shit. I'm not talking about everybody, every one of y'all. I'm talking about people who be like, well, what they need to do. Shut your what they need to do ass up. You don't know shit. What they need to do. Do some people slide on by and get through? Yes. But that's how any system works. The system is always going to allow for a few to slide through. The system needs a few to slide through so the rest of you motherfuckers can be hung up on hope. It wouldn't work if everybody was broke. We need to point to Jay-Z and say, hey, look, there goes the billionaire. We need to show you Birdman throwing up money in. We got to show you that. We got to show you the money phone. We have to. We got to have a few. It's always going to be a few that make it. Slim Thug. They let your ignorant ass get it because they knew that. Okay, yeah, let this nigga have the money. We know what kind of fool this is. He going to spew all kind. This fool, Slim Thug, is going to think it's because of what he's doing that he's allowed to be this way. He ain't studying how this shit go. So you get people like Slim Thug to go on these radio stations and say, we don't need reparations and I own my masters. Yeah, a few will. Yes, a handful will. And that handful that do, most of them gonna think that they the exceptional Negro. I'm just the exceptional Negro. And what people need to do is do what I do. America knows it's Negroes. And then when they can't take it outright through the system like they did with our sister Don Robinson, you get situations like George Clinton. I've been following this lawsuit for George Clinton, this shit for well over 20 years. And his business partner, you saw on his documentary, you'll see that there was names and shit that was whiteout used and names moved and shit. And his case is going to as high as the Supreme Court.